And we continue with chapter 1. Imam Azhar al-Nujay al-Hanafi rahimahullah, he says, learning is indeed noble, for it leads to a fear of Allah, which entitles the believer to receive Allah's benevolence and eternal bliss in the hereafter. Imam Azhar al-Nujay rahimahullah is teaching us something very profound here. Look at how the ulama look at means and ends. Here, learning is a means to an end. And because it is a means to an end and the end is noble, then learning is noble because the end is noble. SubhanAllah. Here, learning is a means to an end. The end is taqwa, or cultivating a relationship with Allah with the hope of getting into the hereafter. Eternal life, eternal bliss, Jannah. So then learning is a means to Jannah. And because Jannah is a good in itself, or a good in itself, then that which leads to that end becomes something that is good. Imam Azhar al-Nujay rahimahullah, he says, in this vein, Muhammad bin al-Hasan Abu Abdullah said, learn, for learning is an adornment for one who possesses it, a virtue and a prelude to every praiseworthy action. Profit each day by increasing your learning and swimming in the seas of beneficial knowledge. And the beauty here is this, before we go further with the statement of Muhammad bin al-Hasan Abu Abdullah, Imam Azhar al-Nujay rahimahullah is saying learning is indeed noble, for it leads to a fear of Allah, which entitles the believer to receive Allah's benevolence and eternal bliss. He does not separate between the different branches of knowledge here. He's not saying this type of knowledge is better than this type of knowledge, and that type of knowledge is not as good as this type of knowledge, and so on and so forth. Here, there's a difference between the methodology of Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah and the methodology of Imam Azhar al-Nujay rahimahullah. Imam al-Ghazali says there is such a thing as ilm al-din and ilm al-dunya. So ilm al-din and ilm al-dunya, when we compare the two to one another, we have to say that ilm al-din is more honored than ilm al-dunya. No, there's no hierarchical categorization of knowledge so that one category gets preference to another. Here Imam Azhar al-Nujay rahimahullah, he's teaching us that all branches of knowledge have value. And the interesting thing is that Imam Ibn Khaldun in his Muqaddimah teaches us that we divide knowledge into two types: knowledge of al-wahi and knowledge of al-aql, or knowledge al-naql and knowledge al-aql. Knowledge that's transmitted and knowledge that is gained by way of the intellect, and that includes science, and that includes intellectual sciences that are non-practical or have no practical application, or are not something which pertains to physical action. They pertain to intellectual action. So what we see here is that the ulama divided knowledge into different branches, and this is understood. There's books that have been written upon this, like the classification of knowledge and so on and so forth. Many a book has been written on this point, and inshallah we'll continue. But before leaving, let us repeat: learn, for learning is an adornment for one who possesses it, a virtue and a prelude to every praiseworthy action. Profit each day by increasing your learning and swimming in the seas of beneficial knowledge. And let us add, give yourself up to the study of jurisprudence, for the knowledge of jurisprudence is the best guide to piety and fear of Allah. Here, now, he makes a point to say that the best knowledge, that the knowledge that leads to taqwa, is knowledge of fiqh. And we'll continue inshallah in the next session.